Let me just run an audio check here for the people inside of our meeting. Let me just check. Can you hear me clearly? Don't need to put your cameras on. That will reduce the bandwidth. So just need to know if you're able to hear me. Go ahead, please. Can you hear me? So Daria, can you hear me? Ronaldo or Shimika?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Send out that link. Let's get the others in. Let's get the show on the road. All right, let's go. See, we have a few people here. Kimura, good evening. Are you able to hear me?
Sir, I can hear you.
All right, great. Let's start. In our science textbook, we have some notes that we can go over. We can go over the key points from each section. So from the notebook, from the text rather, I'm on page 4. And it says that everything around you that affects you is a part of your environment. If you have it, go to it. The natural and non-living parts of the environment are soil, water, sunlight, and temperature. Organisms are the natural living parts, right? And some things in your immediate environment can affect you right away, while distant things might take a longer time to affect you. The living and non living things interact and work together to form an integrated and balanced environment. And that last line here on page 4, within an environment, a habitat is the home where an organism lives. Another set of key points. Okay, hold on, I'm missing here. Yes, on page 8, environment differs in terms of soil, physical features, amount of rainfall, weather and climate, and regular daytime and nighttime temperatures. Different kinds of plants and animals live in habitats in different kinds of land environments called terrestrial and water environments called aquatic, right? So we go over to page 14. On page 14, we have adaptation. Adaptation is how an organism is suited to survive in its environment. It could be a body part or the ability that an organism is born with that enables it to survive the adverse conditions to the environment and to reproduce. Organisms can be adapted in various ways. For example, their body shape, the covering of the body, the color changes, special behaviors, and how they live. So, take for example the Arctic fox. The Arctic fox may change its uh, color so that it can blend in with the surroundings during winter, so it can sneak up on its prey. Green plants develop adaptations to get sunlight, water, and nutrients for growth, to get protection from herbivorous animals and enable them to reproduce. Adaptations in plants and animals differ from region to region according to climate. Adaptation enables organisms to survive the climatic conditions of their environment, predators, and other organisms that they might compete with for the same food and habitat space. The whole section here on soils, key points on soils. Soil is a mixture of inorganic, and I'm now on page 25, inorganic and organic materials, water, and air found on the surface of the earth. It is the top layer of earth in which plants grow and many animals live. Soil is one of the most valuable resources. Different types of soil look and feel different. They have different amounts of rock particles of different sizes and dead or decaying matter called humus. Larger rock particles form sand, smaller ones form silt, and clay has the smallest soil particle. Important soil properties are the amount of humus, texture, and particle size. Soil texture is determined by the size of the particles and their amount in the soil. Page 26, soil texture gives it its permeability and water capacity. Soils with large particles and large pore spaces are very permeable. That means water can go through it easily. Sand has pores between the particles that allow air to pass through and also all the water to run through very quickly. So Josiah, I'm using the science textbook, the one given to you by the ministry. Okay. And I'm on page 26 now. So let's go next point. Water flows through sand very fast, um, and faster than through any other soil. So little water is available for the plants to absorb. Clay has fine, closely packed particles and very little pore spaces, so they are not very permeable. Water moves through slowly, very slowly rather, through clay, and a lot is held back or gets stuck in the spaces. A soil is permeable if most of the water flows through it quickly and easily. Going on now to the next set of facts or key points on page 34. Page 34. Deforestation is the destruction and removal of Earth's forest resources on a large scale and over an extended period of time without replanting trees. All right. Deforestation occurs during the clearing of land for agriculture, cattle rearing, industries, home and road building, for timber and for making charcoal. Deforestation of mangroves can contribute to declining fish catches because of the loss of nurseries for fish, erosion of keys, loss of habitat for many coastal shore animals, to include sea turtles and sea birds. So, key points from this section: deforestation is one of the main causes of soil degradation and leads to many other environmental problems. For example, soil erosion, increased flooding, the disruption of the water cycle, the loss of habitat and organisms, and the disruption of food chains. Deforestation means less trees, less food making, so there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That will upset the balance of the atmospheric gases, which can lead to climate change. It does not take a long time to create a desert after deforestation occurs. Erosion is the removal of what? The upper layer or topsoil from the land, especially on steep slopes, as a result of people's unsustainable agricultural practices, such as slash and burn, which is a method of clearing land. The loss of fertile soil makes the land less productive for agriculture and creates deserts, and we pollute water and increase the risk of landslides. Then we got into the waste section of the unit here, and we have some key points on page 49. On page 49, some more key points. Solid waste is unwanted materials. For example, garbage that may contain paper, it may contain plastics and metal. Improper solid waste disposal is a threat to public health, and it can lead to infectious diseases being spread by pollution of water and air and by pests that act as vectors. And one of the ones that comes to mind quickly is the mosquito. So we know that if they breed, if we leave them out there, leave containers and bottles to have water going in them. I was told by a health inspector that one bottle cap, you know, the baby bottles, you would know, the little iCool bottles or this other drink bottles that we have, one cap of that with rainwater can have 100 little mosquito wrigglers in there. You know, those little things that wriggle up, and you know that is the baby mosquitoes. That would be, yes, that would have 100 of them in there. One bottle cap. Okay. Can you imagine what a tire would have in there? One whole tire. How many mosquitoes could be coming from that tire? So we have to be careful. And mosquitoes can carry things like malaria. A few years ago, there was an outbreak of chikungunya. I don't know if you people know chikungunya. I've heard about chikungunya, but that was going around. It was something of great concern for many people. All right, so for the people just joining, I am at page 49 of our science textbook. Let's continue a little more. Solid waste pollutes the environment. Going back to the vectors, the other vector, rats. I'm thinking about leptospirosis, which is very, very dangerous. Okay. Um, Yes, so we continue. Solid waste pollutes the environment and contributes to climate change. To reduce the effects of solid waste pollution on humans and other organisms and the environment, we need to practice correct disposal methods. So we need to make sure we know where our garbage is going. So overfishing, what's overfishing? Overfishing happens when a particular type of fish is caught. I'm now on page 52. Is caught and removed from an aquatic area, and this is done at such a rapid rate that the fish either cannot reproduce or have young ones reach maturity in time to restore the stock of that type of fish to its former level. So page 54, coral reefs and mangrove forests are important habitats, especially in tropical areas like the Caribbean. Their destruction can cause various economic and environmental problems. The improper disposal of human waste, as well as runoff from agricultural activities that use pesticides and fertilizers, pollute the waters, killing the corals. Let's go next section on climate change. I am now at 65. Does anybody have the text and you'd want to read 65 for us? All right, that's Miss Johnson. Go ahead, Miss Johnson. Bottom of page 65.
Sir,
Go ahead.
weather describes the short-term, day-to-day, even hour-to-hour changes in variables or elements such as rainfall, temperature, humidity, wind or air pressure. Weather describes the conditions of the atmosphere of a certain place at a certain time.
All right.
Weather differs
Hold a
according to
second.
the
Hold a second. So whenever we're talking about weather, it is the conditions of the atmosphere at a certain time. Okay. And it could change. So we could be at school and before break time it is sunny. After break time, rain a tear down a place, thunder, lightning. And by the time lunchtime comes around, the place is nice and sunny again. That's weather. All right, go ahead. Next point.
weather differs according to the climate zone in which a country is located.
Mm-hmm.
Climate is the pattern of weather that occurs in a
Eh,
given location or region over many years. Climate involves measuring and averaging the patterns in the variables or elements of weather of a particular place or region over a very long period, such as years or decades. Sir, I'm finished.
All right, great. So that takes care of that section. Let me go now to page 68 that defines climate change. Could you read that one for me as well?
Yes, sir. Climate change is a various long-term significant changes in regional climatic conditions such as rainfall and other forms of precipitation, temperature, wind, or other weather conditions.
All right, thanks for that one. Let's go I am going to go to page 71. The gases form a blanket that traps the sun's heat so it remains inside Earth's atmosphere. This is called what? This is called the greenhouse effect. So we have certain gases in the atmosphere that help to trap heat. Now, some people think that this in and of itself is a bad thing. It is not necessarily a bad thing that we have these gases in the atmosphere that trap heat. Why? Because without it, we would get too hot or we would get too cold. So the atmosphere regulates the temperature on Earth so that we are able to survive. Understood? What we have a problem is when we have too much of one particular set of gases now that cause a warming in the atmosphere. So it continues, that is called the greenhouse effect, which leads to a rise in the what? Average temperature of the Earth's surface, making the Earth hotter than it needs to be. This increased temperature is called global warming. Let's see. Make another step. We are at 79, page 79. Let me see. Do I have another reader for page 79? Anybody else? Raise your hand and we can take you. Thank you. Okay, Elon, go ahead. Not hearing you though.
Unmute.
Go ahead. Seem to be losing him there. Let's see.
Sir,
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear now. Go ahead, sir.
the increased atmospheric carbon dioxide and increasing average temperature of the surface of the Earth between 1880 and the present to provide evidence of global warming. Climate change in the Caribbean involves warmer days and nights, more intense, longer lasting rain events, droughts, more frequent and very intense storms and hurricanes, and higher sea levels. Climate change affects the habitats of plants and animals, destroying them in many cases. Humans are adversely affected
Adversely.
by climate change, especially when it causes droughts, increased heat, and more intense hurricanes and storms, all of which can destroy homes and prevent them from earning their living. For Jamaica and other Caribbean islands, climate change effects have led to warmer days and nights, higher sea levels, more intense rain events, and more frequent hurricanes.
Very good. All right. Let me take another step in this section. And we have some key points here. You see, on this section here, page 87, going forward, we look at some of the things that we can do, right? So we can, plant windbreaks, use wide-scale reforestation. We can plant heat-resistant crops. We can install efficient irrigation systems. We can educate people. We can build houses on stilts. We put in coastal features like wave breaks and so on to help to protect the shoreline from further erosion. We can restore and plant mangroves to help again to shore up the shoreline and keep it nice there. We can move in some instances, right, to protect ourselves from some of the effects of the climate change. When we go to page 90, we see some more key points here. Systematic changes in average temperature and other conditions observed and analyzed over a long period of time provide the evidence for climate change. Climate change is a change observed in the Earth's overall average weather and all the related changes in land, ocean, and ice sheets that occur and persist over a long period of time, longer than 30 years. I've been saying that there is an element to include a 30-year timeline. Okay, let's go. So here we have an organizer. It says effects of climate change include those shown in this graphic organizer. So let me get Miss White. Miss White and Miss Hall, help me with this organizer. What is at the very center of a graphic organizer? Hold on though. Let us back up a little bit. And
Sir,
hold on. What is a graphic organizer used to do?
to list important things about what it's talking about.
That's one way.
Sir, a graphic organizer is a organizer that will organize your thoughts in when you're writing.
All right. So I'm going to put those two things together, and I would put it like this. A graphic organizer is a visual way of organizing your thoughts. What is at the heart of this graphic organizer?
Climate
Climate
change.
changes.
Everything else that surrounds it has to do with climate change in one way or another. Let's go in a clockwise direction. So climate change can lead to habitat destruction. You seeing that one?
Yes, sir.
Continue now. What next?
Hurricanes and storms stronger.
Sugar,
Poor air quality. Poor people most affected.
retreat,
Retreating coastlines. More heat from the sun. Destruction of crops.
pollution.
Pollution.
All right.
Permafrost.
Kenya, let us give Miss Hall, you went half of the clock. Let's give Miss Hall now the opportunity to go from pollutions all the way back around. Go ahead, Miss Hall. Go ahead.
Pollution, permafrost thawing, global warming,
Mm-hmm.
dying plants, dying animals, melting of Arctic ice shelves, rising
Mm-hmm.
of oceans, melting of glaciers, more rain.
All right, thank you. So all of these things can happen there. Let's go now to page 102. Yes, page 102. Yeah. What's the first thing that we see there in that content bubble at page 102? Raise your hand if you want to share. All right, Miss White is fast on the button, you know. Go ahead, Miss White.
Sir, the first thing I see on page 102 is an activity.
No, man, that is not what I want. I want the little bubble down the bottom. The
Oh,
path that light travels. Yes, read that one for me.
the path that light travels from its source is called light rays. You
Mm-hmm.
usually do not see a single ray, but you see a bundle of rays which make up a beam of light.
Thank you very much. So the beam of light that we are seeing there is not just one. Let me get another hand now, and we go to page 106. Let's see what page 106 has to say for us. Another person, another reader. Calling a reader, calling a reader. All right, Miss Johnson, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Light rays travel.
Light rays travel outward from its source in straight lines and cannot bend around corners.
Mm-hmm.
Light is scattered and becomes less bright as it goes farther away from its source.
Mm-hmm.
Light always travels in straight lines from its source and will continue in straight lines unless the path is blocked.
So important. As light rays travel away from its source, they get weaker. So the closer you are to something, the brighter it gets. Okay? Think about walking on the road at night and you see a car light way down the road and it doesn't affect your eyes. But the closer it gets, the more you squinch up your eye, the more you can't hardly, and you say, so lights are bright. Or you may be driving at night on the highway and you see a light way down the road, it doesn't affect you. But the closer it gets, maybe your parents start saying, boy, the man won't dim me light, right? Because it's so bright when it gets there. Okay, thanks for that, miss. We go to page 11. 111. Let's get another reader. All right, Mr. Lee looks like he's ready now. Mr. Lee, go ahead. Not hearing from Mr. Lee.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead. 111 is yours.
light can be absorbed or transmitted when it comes in contact with various materials.
Mhm.
We classify materials as opaque, transparent, or translucent according to how they interact with light.
Mhm. Um, Tell me about the transparent material. What do you know? What do you know about the transparent material?
So
Saw some
transparent
pictures.
material,
Saw
so
some pictures of you guys working in class with these materials. So you tell me. Yes.
a transparent material that all the light goes through it.
Mm. And how is the image?
The image is basically clear.
Okay, great. Other type of material.
We have also have opaque material that make it so that no light passes through it. And they get it's the absorbed or transmitted.
Hmm. So, what about an image where that is concerned?
How it looks, it won't see anything. You won't see it.
Okay, so no image is formed. All right. There's another class of materials. Uh, what you call those?
Translucent objects.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's see. Give me an example of a translucent object.
So hand lens.
Hand lens, translucent. Not thinking of that one.
Hand lens.
We said sometimes at the bank you might see something, some glass.
Frosted glass.
Frosted glass is an example there, or glass blocks. All right. Some cups, yes, Mr. Waugh, some cups might be very good one too. Shower curtains. Shower curtains. That's good, Jerome. Shower curtains maybe translucent as well. Good job on that one, guys. Let's go. We saw the shadows on page 113. Let me get another reader. Miss Hall, you're up. I see a hand there. Go ahead. 113. Have the book?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead with the 113 for me.
Shadows form in the shape of objects blocking the light. A large shadow forms when an object is close to the light source. The shadow gets smaller when it is moved further away from the light source.
All right. So there's a relationship between the light source and the object. Closer you get, the larger the shadow. The farther away you get, the smaller the shadow. So there's a relationship there. There is a relationship between, tell me this then. This one. Will an transparent object create a shadow?
No, sir, not really.
No shadow will, because it allows all the light to pass through. So the thing that is opaque will form a very dark shadow, well defined, The thing that is translucent will form a what? Weak shadow. It's dull. It's not very not very clear, not very bright in terms of how shadows are. So, and transparent things form no shadow. Okay. Here's one. If I see multiple shadows, what does that mean? Multiple shadows. Let me check the chat. So I see here that there are multiple light sources. Excellent on that. Let me go. All right. Page 118. Let's get another read off of 118. Let's see who will be up this time. No, what about Mr. Cole? Quiet today. All right, Miss Johnson, not hearing from Mr. Cole. Maybe he's asleep. Go ahead. Page 118. There's a little bubble there. An image.
An An image or reflection is the likeness or the appearance of an actual object or person that forms in a flat mirror.
Very good. So an image or reflection is the likeness or the what? Appearance of the actual object or person that forms in a flat mirror. Good. Page 121. I will start with the first two and somebody else helps me after that. So get ready. Light can be absorbed, transmitted, and reflected from surfaces. So when light rays hit on something, something is going to happen. It can be transmitted, that means it passed through it. It can be absorbed, that means that it is held by that particular thing. Or it can be reflected, mean that it bounces back, it is thrown back. Okay? When light rays hit an object and bounce off, it is called a certain R word. Can you drop that R word in the chat? Looking for it in the chat, in the chat, in the chat. Somebody say reflective, not the word I'm looking for. Reflection. That's the word I'm looking for. And Jerome and Josiah, Miss Newman, they're the first people there to bring that one up. Let's go with, all right, so Josiah, your name is up. Let's go with the next two items from that list. Read for me. Go ahead. Luminous. Not hearing him. Miss White, take the next one until he's ready.
Luminous objects make and emit light. Non-luminous objects reflect light.
Hold on. So, Kiana, give me an example of something that is luminous. All right, I'm getting a signal here that her connection is weak. Let me go back to Josiah. Josiah? Still not hearing them. Let me check with Mr. Cole. Cole? Not hearing from Mr. Cole again. Mr. Cole's hand is raised, but we're not hearing him. So I'll continue. So the sun would be an example of something that is luminous because it makes its own light or emits light. Then we have something like the moon, which bounces light. I want to tell you, one morning I was walking because there was a full moon recently, and I was walking and I was like, the place outside was just bright. I was like, wow, Now, if it is that the moon can bounce that much light, can you imagine what it would be like if we had the sun shining at night? Well, it wouldn't technically be night. But can you imagine if we did not? Because there are actually some places in the world that sun never really sets. Can anybody tell me such a place? Drop it in the chat if you know. There are certain points of the year where the sun does not set. Anybody? Not near the equator, sir. The equator gets so I'm seeing somebody here saying Norway, Iceland, places that are close to the North Pole or the South Pole may have up to 6 months of daylight in some instances, and then 6 months of dark, depending on where you are. Okay, so that's an interesting fact there for us. A mirror reflects light rays reaching its surface, so you see an inverted image or reflection of objects. Light rays reflect from flat, smooth, and shiny surfaces at an angle in an orderly way so that a clear reflection forms. Light rays form Light rays rather from dull, rough, and dark surfaces are scattered in all directions in a disorderly way. They do not reach your eye, so they give a blurry reflection. All right. And the last one we look at is on page 131. This is before we get to our quiz. Let's see if Josiah can do this one for us. 131. Let's see if the connection is good. Go ahead, Josiah. I'm not hearing him. Let me just check to make sure I'm being heard. Daria, go ahead. Go ahead, Daria, read. And you guys have to listen to yourselves inside of our meeting and not on YouTube, because it's always going to be later on YouTube because of the delay. Okay, there's a built-in delay there. All right, not hearing from anyone, so let me continue with this. A lens is a curved piece of glass or plastic that causes light rays passing through it to change direction or bend. That's a lens. Another important property of light is that it can be refracted as it passes at an angle from one substance into another substance. Which test did we do the other day that shows the refraction of light? Anybody can talk now. So go ahead. All right, not hearing you guys. Refraction. Josiah says, when we set the paper on fire. Yes, but that's not the one I was thinking of. There was something else that we did in class that shows it to me even more than that one. Something that appeared broken. All right, Mr. Lee, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Lee.
Come on, Mike.
Let's see if we can. Let's see. Try now, Mr. Lee.
Sir, it was when we put the pencil in the water, sir.
Very good. That's the one I'm thinking of. When we put the pencil into the water. All right.
Nothing's wrong with my phone.
All
That's
right.
just barely has anything open.
Oh, hold on. Let's mute him. All right, great. All right, Michael, please mute. All right, so here we have another one. Refraction can cause an object in water to look as if it is broken just where the water and air meet. Refraction occurs because light changes speed as it goes at an angle from one type of substance to a different type of substance, which causes it to change direction. When we see things when light reflected from them into our eyes is refracted by the what? Eye lens to form an image in the eye, and the brain interprets this image. All right, so we have reviewed all our little notes there. And let's get to the business of the day. This is what most of us are here for. Let me pull up the little quiz. And here we go. Let me bring it over to this side. This quiz is, let me see which one of them I should give you. Let me see which one. I have one on soils and one on light. Since we just talk about light, let me give you the one on light. Let me start this classic. Let me continue. Let me now share my screen so that you're able to see. Here we go. And this is the one. Share. That's it. Let me copy.
Sir, I'm not hearing anything. Sir, may you send the link in the chat, please?
There you go. Let's see if anybody will join. All right. Let's see the people who have joined already. I see Michael. Michael targets Josiah, Tashima, Josiah, Daria. Those people are in. Let me drop this link in our class group here. Drop the link in the class group as well. Invitation to you, and let me drop this on our link on YouTube as well, so anybody else who is watching can join. Shamoya is in. Good. Let me see. Let's see who else is here. Elan is in. I drop this link. That's the link. All right. See more people targeting Josiah. I think that probably because last night he was the champion there. I wonder if the girls will be able to make it this evening. Let me drop it in again. Let me pull up the QR code here for you all to see, for those who want to use a QR code. Can use a QR code instead. We've got 20 people in. And we hear about some strategies that people were using. People were doubling up on points. People were using redemption questions, using immunity. So like they're getting vaccinated against bad questions and stuff like that. All right, so I'm gonna start. So let's start. I see Daria in first place right now. Oh, Josiah takes first place from her. Sharika in third place. Look like the girls have shown up this evening. Let's see, Tashima, Kiana, Jerome, not a loser, now in fourth place. Let's see, Tashima's there. Mario now in second place. What's happening? Jerome now in third. Lots of movement taking place here. Daria back in second. Oh, Jerome. No, that's the Mario. Push her down in the third. Sharika swapping place in there in third. Tashima now in third as well. Let's see. Elon moving in the third place as well there. Michael in third as well. Daria back into third. What's happening? Ding dong battle.